Good afternoon, everybody. This is Charles Rather from AmLaw Group. Today, I had a pointer I wanted to lay out for our Canadian clients who are coming to the U.S. for either an immigrant or non-immigrant visa. This is a little issue that comes up sometimes with Canadian clients. They don't know about this in advance, and it can create some problems later on. What are we talking about? We're talking about situations where you enter the U.S. not by plane, but crossing the border, generally one of the land borders between the U.S. and Canada. Happens all the time. People drive in, Canadians constantly crossing the border, Detroit, Buffalo, doesn't matter where. The issue is, by default, when you enter the U.S. on a car or in a car when you're Canadian, they generally don't issue an I-94. So the I-94 number is that official number you get when you fly into the U.S. that basically says, okay, you were admitted to the U.S., you were admitted in this, status, whether tourist, E2, visa, student, whatever, and it indicates the duration of your status. Canadians, special, treated differently than everybody else. They have a little special treatment, and usually when you enter by a vehicle at a land crossing, they don't issue that I-94 number. Why is that? I don't know. I suppose maybe it's just to keep the traffic moving on the bridges and everything so things don't get delayed. But the problem that can come up then later is if you want to adjust or change your status in the U.S. as a Canadian citizen, you can do so after 90 days like everybody else. But the problem is you can't do that if you don't have an I-94. And so sometimes people, when they cross the border in their car, usually, they just wave you through, they scan your passport, you don't go inside the booth there. And most cases where that happens, where you don't leave the car, they don't issue an I-94. And that then prevents you from adjusting your status later. So if you're considering doing an EB-5 or you want to do an E2 and you're thinking of entering first as a tourist and then changing your status here and you're going to cross the border, make sure you go into the booth there. Make sure you go into the CBP office and specifically ask for an I-94 number for yourself and everybody in your family. Because otherwise, we can't change your status here in the U.S. If you forget to do it, you can correct it, but it's a little bit of a pain in the butt. And sometimes you have to go back to the original point of entry. Usually you don't, but it just is a lot extra work. So something just to keep in mind, if you're looking to come to the U.S., change your status, hopefully that piece of information will help you in those situations. If you have any other questions about this or anything else related to immigration to the U.S., whether you're Canadian or from anywhere else in the world, feel free to reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to assist you in your transition to the U.S.